This is a new project. We're going to be working on a Fender Squier Jaguar bass I bought last week. I've already started. I changed this from chrome. I'm going to change the tuners to black. I've got them in. There's a bit of an issue with that already. I'm going to put a new back plate on. I've already changed the knobs to black. And I'm going to change the strings to flat wound tapes. And we're going to do some decals on the neck. That are very dark, almost black. I think they're actually a dark purple. And then we'll do the full setup and make sure we got this thing in pretty good shape, and we'll see if we can play it. The first thing we're going to do is work on the new tuners. I can see the ones I ordered are a little bit different size than that. So I don't know if they're going to fit or not. So I'm going to take one off and see how that comes out, and if we can switch them, we'll switch them. If we can't, we're up the creek. So this is a crafted in Indonesia, if you can read upside down. All right. So we'll get started on this in just a minute. First thing we're going to do, excuse my head, is take the strings down. This shouldn't be too hard. We'll get all the strings off and then see if the new tuners are going to work. I'm not convinced at all that they are. They may be the wrong size. It's another one of those cases of whatever the hell can go wrong in a project can go right from the outset. I bought these new tuners, which I believe are Wilkinson. Yeah, Wilkinson, that's what it says on here. And it says that they're supposed to fit this bass. But as I look at the design, it's got a bigger design of the screw placement and stuff. So we're going to pull the strings and see if we can't take at least one out and see how that's going to go. And I'm not even sure how these come off, if these screw on or what. The other ones don't. I think they just a press fit. So we've got new strings we're going to put on anyway. So I think I'll just cut these away and pop them out. And then we'll be back. All right, so we've got this set up now to take one of these tuners off. And I think we'll start at the bottom, because you got to start someplace. I don't have any other better reason than that. So we'll do a little power here. Anyway, so because they're a different placement and it's a different size casting, so that's why I'm kind of curious as to how well this is or is not going to fit. And then the ring on the other side should be just kind of a press fit. It's a big one. Oop, I'm banging you guys around again. Sorry again. Let me move back a little bit. And we'll see if we can't get in a better position. And I think I can use, that's too big, use one of these guys to go in the hole and pop this out. So let's kind of do that with a make-believe hammer. Oops. It came out and went on the floor. Somewhere down there. Ah, I see it. All right, and it is just a press fit. I wasn't sure. Okay, so we've retrieved all the parts. Now, let's see how this is going to work. If it's going to work. If it's going to work, it's going to just barely work. Maybe it's a shorter ride. I guess I've got to take a couple of them out to see if this is going to work or not. So that tuner is out, and then we'll knock out the piece on the inside, because it's just a press fit, and it should press fit back into the other one. So we need to get a second tuner out of its little bag, because everything comes in a magic little bag. And see, that one goes down. And see if these two can line up together. Now, I don't have the collars in the front, but this is at least showing some hope. that it'll work. Maybe I should have left the other collars in the first place and then tried it, because they're probably the same size. Are they? Yeah, that's one miracle. They are the same size. So let's see if this will go in and stay in without having to muck around with it. Now I gotta pop the other ones in anyway. So let's flip this over. We'll get another collar and we'll pop the collars in, but it's kind of in place. As that one is in place. So I think I can get an idea anyway of how it's going to work. They're still quite a ways out and not lined up right. I think you can see they're not lined up right. I just want to know if the spacing is going to be good enough to get these in. Oh, for crying out loud, come on. Okay, so that's that. And it looks like they're going to fit. It does look like they're going to make it once I get them down. Okay, so that settles that question. So I think they're actually going to fit. So we'll take the other two out. So we've got to pop these other guys out. We'll do that again here. That's doing no damage at all. That's working out pretty easy. There are some flakes of wood flying around here. I'm not sure where those are coming from. So we got those guys out. There's a dent in there. I don't know what that's from. So we'll take away the foam. We'll get this down fairly flat. And then we'll get, I got to get a mallet and then something to cover. Do I get a rubber mallet? A rubber mallet would be really good. I know I got one out in the shed. Maybe I'll go retrieve that and do this smart, not like a dork. Okay, maybe a rag will do. Maybe a rag will do. Let me get I got a rag right here. All right, I'm back here again. I got my little ball peen hammer. We'll do 2 layers of cloth and try to drive these guys home. That looks pretty good. Now I've got the other thing in the way there. Maybe it would be prudent to remove it. I've never been prudent. This is a new first for me. Oh, there's a lot of flaking around that boy. All right, so let's put another couple of layers. We'll get our ball peen hammer and give it a whack. Are we seated? Not quite. That sounded more solid. I'm not sure if the other one is seated solid. Not quite. It is now. We'll give this one a pop. That one's still going to need another pop. And the cloth did us good, and that's all the way down. We're going to go back just a little bit more. I'd like to start this in nice and straight. Not in. Still not quite down. You want it to be seated flat so that it sits at an absolute straight angle coming up. There. Alright, now we got this off. We'll give the headstock a good cleaning. And I did check the neck for straightness. The neck is nice and straight, which is always good news. Now let's put our holder upper, the support back under there. Let's put in the first one. And that should fit right down in there. Now we'll take the second one, place it down, and see how this alignment's going to go. Is it going to sit flush? Oh my God, does it? Does it sit flush? Not really. It's off by about a millimicron. Now it's sitting down. So if I give them a slight adjustment, then I'll be able to get them in. But I think they're going to work. I think. Oh, this is their own bushing. It's too tight almost. Should go in. It's their own bushing. Oh, that's sticking out over the top. They're not going to work. They're too big. They're just too goddamn big. Sticking out over the wood. Unless I lay it that way. lay one in sideways? What a stupid, Jesus. Unbelievable. They aren't going to work. They're a different size. God damn. This kind of stuff makes me nuts. Ain't that ridiculous? It's just ridiculous. I could almost get those first three lined up, and the fourth one is just sticking over the top because it's a different size. Unbelievably stupid. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. That's unbelievable. All right, so the other ones don't fit. See, these have a smaller head on them, or at least a smaller body of the tuna. And I'm going to put these back in. I've got the black collars on the other side. I'm going to leave them there. I got the chrome ones here, and those stupid things are bigger. They're just too big. The edge of them is just too damn big. It just is a whole different width. And I can fit it in down the bottom three, but the top one is going to stick over the top, so it's just totally unusable. So I'm just going to put these on and reuse the chromes and have the black collars on the front, and maybe order another set of tunas from Japan or Tokyo or Hong Kong or Fender or somebody that would have them fit on this base. All right, so there we put the chrome tunas back on, and we'll flip this over and I'll show you what it looks like on the other side. The other side I left the collars, the black collars, because it goes better with the board anyway, and maybe someday we can replace these with black tunas that will fit. I just need to research it a hell of a lot better before I buy them again. And now I've got to put the string protector back into its hole, and we'll secure that and be done with that. And then we'll work on the fingerboard, put the finger decals on. What else have I got to do here? We got black strap buttons, and we've got the nylon tape wound. These are a little heavier than the strings that were on there. These are 50 to 105. The originals came with 45s to 90 strings, so it'll change a little bit, and we'll see how that goes. All right, we're going to change the white nut to black with the help of a magic marker. We've got it all taped off with a nice thin painter's tape. We'll catch the edges here. And with the thin painter's tape, it shouldn't bleed through. So I'm going to finish this off and I'll show you what I'm doing. Now we'll peel the tape away and see how we've actually done in reality. I was trying to preserve that bit of wood, and I think we have. So now we've got to go under here and get the tape and lift it off. Where am I? Here we are. There's the whole thing right there. Oh, pretty good. All right, we've preserved the part that was already black as black. And I'm sorry, the fingerboard here that's brown, we didn't cover with black, so that worked out good. So that's done. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is replace the chrome cover on the back with a flat black on the back. So we've got to remove the screws and replace that cover. I'm going to check the length of the screws to make sure they match. If they don't, I'll reuse the same screws and color the heads black with magic marker. That'll get us to the same place. So we'll do that in a second. So here we are, we're ready to roll. What we're going to do is take that screws out. We're going to do one first and see how everything lines up. So we'll get the heavy duty industrial strength. Let's take a look at the neck. The neck looks flat. Everything looks pretty much the same. There's nothing pulling through. It looks like we've done a complete change of screws, and the back is now black. And now we're going to move on to the fingerboard stuff. And we've got these inlays that we're going to use that are kind of a dark, that'll go with the black guitar red motif. And these should work out good. These are Giacomo inlays. They're my favorite brand kind. They're usually pretty good. There's a diagram. We'll pull the diagram just in case we need it. We really shouldn't, because this is a straightforward kind of guitar. Bass, I should say. That should line up everything just fine. So there's the fingerboard, and that's how that's going to start down and work out, I think, pretty well. I don't know, maybe we should start down one, because these frets on a bass are a little wider placed. And I'm trying to see how perfectly they're going to be. It's made to go that way, so I don't know. There'll be a bit of a gap between some of this, but I think it'll be all right. So I think we'll do it. So the first thing I got to do is rub these down, and then I'll be back and lay them on and cut them up. Okay? Hang on. All right, so everything we need to do this is the inlays themselves, pair of scissors to cut them up, a good stiff pick to rub them down, and then sometimes you need something to pry them up with. And that is what that is for. So the first thing we'll do is rub these guys down, and the easiest place to do that is back here on the body of the guitar. It makes a nice flat surface for the rub. And it's conveniently located. So we'll rub these on so that they stick to the clear plastic surface of the inlays, because you want it to lift off of there, and then you place it on the fingerboard. And they stick down pretty good. So that's the top set with the first fret marker to cover up. We'll cut this off and lay this down and see how close it's going to come. These will have a little bit more spacing because they're going on a bass guitar, spacing between frets. So we're going to lay these down and figure out where we want to have them. I think we'll start with the third one and cover the fret marker first. And we'll peel the paper away from the front vinyl. And we'll lay this down in a good position to cover that marker. And then we'll see where we need to be with that. We're going to have a little gap. Usually these touch right at the frets, but on the base here where it's set a little bit wider on the frets, you're not going to have that kind of a luxury. You're going to be a little bit further apart. And that final one, this one will lay right on the fret also, or maybe we'll put it away a little bit so it looks like it was intended to be that way, spaced a little differently. So we'll space it to line up with the end, but we'll move it up the, it's down. Once it's down, it's down. So we'll rub it in, leave that one there. We'll start with this one and peel it away. We want to peel it straight back and not lift up on it at all, because then there's less chance or less of a tendency for the inlay to peel up also. We'll give that a good rub with the pick in a while and smooth them all down. And that lays down very nicely. We'll bring this one's tending to lift up a little bit, so we'll rub it in a little bit more. And then peel away from the broadest side we can. And that's how they're going to look. I think that's a good choice. It's a good color. It's a dark color. It'll lend itself to the black, although it's really a dark blue, sort of a midnight kind of blue. But it's a midnight kind of guitar, ain't it? So we'll finish putting these down, and I'll do the rest of them and bring you back after it's done. We'll shorten the video time. But that's how the whole thing goes. You lay them down, stick them, cut them, bada, 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 boom. I forgot, the other thing we're going to do is change the buttons. I used magic marker and made these silver ones black that were on here. But I got some black mushroom buttons that just came in, and we're going to change these over to that. So we'll see how that goes. Now the screw on this is longer. So then the ones that came with the new ones are smaller. If these fit, and they do, through the hole, I'm going to put these back in again, because it'll work better to make sure that they stay tight. Because the last thing you want to do is have your strap come off in the middle of playing your guitar and have it crash to the floor. And these have nice rubber grommets, so that's good and tight now. And then we'll pull out the back of a new button in the hole. We push that to forward. We'll place the guitar for impact, and there's the new mushroom button on both sides. So that's done. So now we'll move on to strings. All right, so here's the new strings, the nylon tape-on Diodarios, short scale, 150 to 105s, with a deep, warm black nylon, it says. So we're going to take these guys out. We're going to cut the bag open out of its corrosion protection package, and then we'll answer the phone, maybe, if there's anybody worth talking to. Nope, already hung up. My phone is able to program to eliminate junk calls. It's really convenient. I love the heck out of it. So let me find the hole. There's the hole. And then we've got to come over the top. Put that down. Now these are going to work much better than the full-length ones that I had on there before. Can't even play a 4-string bass. I can't imagine what the heck you do with a 6-string bass unless you tune it like a guitar, and like a regular guitar, and then play it as with chords. That would be fun to do. Except basses don't allow themselves to be able to do that. It's hard to play strings together on a bass. All right, so now we're just going to put these things together on the other end. We'll bring you up here, give you a quick look at how exciting stringing a bass can be. I don't know what those screws are left over from. So now we can cut these down, because you got to cut them down to get them in. With a regular guitar, you go about that far. I got cutters out? I do have cutters out. So let's do this. We'll treat this kind of like a regular guitar. We'll just give it a few extra lengths for the spin. We'll drop this down. We'll get the handy dandy magic winder going. I should get the power winder. Make my life easier. I put it in the other, oh no, I got it in the box. That's right too, I think I do. I do. Excuse my head. See if I can hold this still for a minute. We'll switch over and we'll wind with power. Kind of look semi-professional here. Put this down. So I got a couple of technical issues to address, which we now have done. I think I may still have too much string on this. On the next one I'm going to go shorter, because I think that's a mistake too. I think they tell you that you're being stupid if you put too much string on there. You can cut down on the string length, can't we? Because this has a good braid of wrap on it, so that I don't think there'll be any problem with these things staying on board like they're supposed to. These won't unwind like a low high E on a guitar. It's just not that delicate a run. Let's get that up over the top. We'll give these guys a spin. Oops. Got a lot of issues at the other end to stay clean with. Oh, it's going to be a hard string. Let's try swinging that over the other way. All right, that's the strings are all on now. Now we got a tune. Oh, let's check string height while we're here. Okay, so hang on a second. We'll check string height, see how that looks. Maybe we can show you how we do it here. You able to see anything? So let's bring this up. And we've got, I can't see very well in the light here. Oh, I should be down at the 12th fret anyway. I got about 2 3/64. I'll have to check that again in a bit. That's nice. I really like the look of the black. Anyway, that's how it's going to look. It's all finished out now, essentially. Let's see if we can get the strings and stuff out of the way there. We'll take that off the holder. And there's the strings black. And the fingers are done over. That looks pretty cute. All right. Much, much nicer. I'm a little disappointed I don't have my black tuners, but I did order another set, and I'll try to replace them when they come. That's the best you can do. Now I'm going to tune it and play it and see how it sounds. I'll check the string height too. I need to do that on my own. And that's the finished model of the Jaguar Squier bass makeover. Looking pretty good. I love the black tape strings. Look very nice. I'm bummed out about the silver tuners. We'll see if we can get that straightened out next week. All right, this is the completion video for the P bass makeover. Let's see how well this does. Plays very nicely, actually now, and I like the look of it. I don't know a thing about playing the bass. I like the look of the tape wounds. So we got two volume controls. I thought somehow the short scale would let me play it better to learn. I think I'm going to take up playing bass a little bit and get some idea how you deal with this beast, because I really don't know. And I'm sure you all can tell that by now. But it's a nice instrument. The makeover came out good. It's a Fender Squier short scale Jaguar special bass. I don't know what makes it so special. I guess it's the way it's set up. Anyway, that's it.